Hello, this is One Lovely Creation. Thank you for joining me for episode 4 of Imagine That, an adult storytelling show. Today we pick up at chapter 6 of Zane, Pleasure Extraordinaire, part 1. Chapter 6, The Distraction. When I said find me a church girl, I didn't necessarily mean she should sing in the church choir. Standing in Julie's office, I scanned the paper she has just stuffed into my hand. Felicia Burton is 28, a devout Catholic, a nurse at the pediatrics unit at the LA Community Hospital, born and raised in San Diego, and has had only one boyfriend with whom she broke up after he joined the military. Julie shrugs and shifts her eyes back to the screen of her computer. So what? She believes in God and prays for the good of the world every Sunday. What am I going to talk to her about? How many deadly sins I commit on a daily basis? Her eyes locked on her computer screen, she grins, making me wonder if the amusing look on her face is the result of my joke or something she's reading on the screen. Just give her a chance. If it doesn't work out, we'll adjust the parameters, okay? Whatever. I head for the door, impatient to get out of the office to have lunch. Brad asked for an urgent meeting. I told him you'd stop by the set during your lunch break. She brings her eyes up to my face and winces as if she's been caught making a mistake. It's about the writers' team. Didn't you already fill the post? I picked someone, but Brad thinks he's not suitable. My eyebrow raises in curiosity, and I step back and turn to her fully, feeling my hunger abandon me. Why not? I don't know. I guess that's what he wants to discuss with you. Okay, I'll go see him. Would you mind if I tag along? She requests sweetly. I'm curious about what he has to say. You could have asked him directly. I did, but he wants to speak only with you. Okay, I shrug. You can come. She nods and quickly gathers her tablet and purse. I heard from Scarlett that he invited Henrietta Cruz over to his office twice this past week. I think he's considering her for the post. Henrietta Cruz from Nielsen Network Channel? I laugh at Julie's suggestion. Brad is smart enough not to invite a spy into our team. Sounds silly, I know, but he might be onto something. He's been postponing my attempts to meet with him to talk about the candidate I picked for the post. She hurries to catch up with my steps as we walk down the hall to the elevators. I'm not completely against having Henrietta on our team. She's talented, but in generic sitcoms, not necessarily in drama. Not to mention the fact that she'll be transferring from Nielsen's, I add, and get into the elevator, pushing the button for the garage after Julie steps in beside me. Yeah, but what can she do? It's not like Nielsen's will try to get inside info on the script and copy Frat House. It's a recipe for failure. Still, anything to do with Nielsen's is a red flag for me. For all we know, she can intentionally sabotage the success of the show. We hurry toward my car and I open the door for Julie. She gets inside quickly and hands me her tablet once I slide in next to her in the back seat. As Danny drives out of the building, I read the resume of the candidate Julie picked for the screenwriter post. I know he doesn't look like a strong candidate just from his resume, Julie says, interrupting my reading, but he has brilliant ideas about the directions the show can take. He pointed out the weaknesses the show had during the last 2 episodes, and I think they were all right on. I firmly believe we should add him to the team, if not for anything but to bring in fresh ideas. Her enthusiasm while defending the candidate speaks volumes about him, but also makes me curious why Brad is less than impressed. Julie asked me to scroll down the resume to find the ideas the candidate suggested for the upcoming episodes. I go through the bullet points one by one, commenting on the ones I like throughout the ride. Coincidentally, Scarlett pulls up in the gated garage just at the same time Danny stops the car engine. She hurries out of the car and waits before the passenger door for us to get out. The red summer dress she's wearing accentuates her youthfulness and liveliness, and of course her long legs. With her high heels, she stands close to my height, a minor detail that has me fantasizing about pounding into her ass while standing up. Very briefly, though, before I remind myself of her irreplaceable role in Frat House. I can't afford to lose her. That's why I should erase any naughty thoughts about her this instant. Julie, great to see you again. Scarlett chirps and gives Julie a side hug. I frown and motion with my hand to inquire without words about their unusual display of friendship, mostly because Julie has never been touchy-feely with anyone, much less with her colleagues. Hey there, girl. How have you been? Julie asks, ignoring my questioning glances, and walks with Scarlett toward the entrance. Busy as always. My mom, grandma, and 7 brothers are coming over tomorrow for my birthday, and I came in to go over the script with Troy. Amused, I listen to their conversation about Scarlett's birthday plans as I follow them into the building and then to the elevator. Kindly enough, she invites me and Julie to the small party she's planning to organize at her home. Julie accepts her invitation for both of us and adds the date on my calendar before the elevator doors open. Melinda at reception informs Scarlett of Troy's meeting with his stylist. Disappointed, Scarlett asks if she can join us while waiting for Troy. Although the meeting with Brad is mainly administrative, I see no reason why she shouldn't be part of the decision-making process. I nod with a wink and open the door to Brad's office. Brad tries his best to hide his discomfort over me showing up with Julie and Scarlett beneath a forced smile and welcomes us into his office. Without wasting time with small talk, he directly starts raving about Henrietta and what an incredible addition she'll be for the writers' team. I listen to him intently, even though I'm not thrilled about having someone from Emmett's company in mind. But it's not the first time someone has changed boats in this business. Sometimes enemies can make the best friends. And Henrietta could possibly change the direction of Frat House's future for the better. She certainly has the necessary experience. I'm not sure if she'll be a good fit for the team, I say, not to dismiss Julie's candidate right away. Henrietta is an award-winning writer, not some wannabe writer from rural Pennsylvania, Brad insists. If anything, we'll be lucky to get her. Carrie isn't a wannabe writer, Julie defends her favorite candidate. He might not have awards lined up like Henrietta, but it doesn't change the fact that he's creative and obsessed with Frat House. He knows all the episodes down to each line. Can you say that about Henrietta? I doubt if she knows the full title of the show. It doesn't matter how much she knows about it, she can learn, Brad says calmly, although the redness on his face speaks of nothing but the simmering anger brewing inside him. I glance over at Scarlett, who seems to be uncomfortable with the direction the conversation is headed. As our eyes meet, she straightens up in her chair and gives me a shy grin. I know it's not my business, she says, holding my gaze. I'm just an actress after all. Brad immediately cuts her off with a loud and harsh tone. Scarlett, please stay out of it. Scarlett's jaw drops in shock, and she nods, looking utterly embarrassed. I'm very sorry. No. I lift my hand to stop Brad from talking. Go ahead, Scarlett. Say what you wanted to say. We value everyone's opinion. It's just my personal opinion, but I used to be a big fan of Troubled Girls back when it was a big hit. Do you remember how it went downhill in the middle of the 3rd season? I heard Henrietta became the head of the writers of the show around that time. It's just a coincidence. The show was bound to die since they decided to kill off one of the main characters, Brad says, now unable to hide the fury in his voice. No, Scarlett is right, Julie says. It was actually Henrietta's idea to kill off that character. Ask anyone you want. Everyone knows she was the reason for the change in the scripts. Brad shakes his head and draws in a long breath of air. Still, it's too risky to hire a no-name writer. Henrietta is our best bet. She's full of great and fresh ideas for the next episodes. I know a fruitless discussion when I hear it, and this is becoming one, especially because I feel a headache coming. Rather than discussing it to death, why don't we ask them both to come up with a general outline for the next few episodes? I start to stand, not wanting to be in this office, much less continue the discussion. I think that's a great idea. Julie gets to her feet quickly. Wait, really? Brad softens his voice when speaking. I'm not sure asking Henrietta to write up the next episodes without paying her anything is a good idea. Well, if she isn't already brewing up some ideas, she's not good for us anyway. I shrug and move to the door. Scarlett hooks the strap of her bag over her shoulder and follows me and Julie out. I should have kept my mouth shut, she whispers to Julie apologetically, but Julie gives her a quick shake to encourage her participation. Don't apologize for wanting the best for the show. I glance down at her sideways and see her cheeks flush at my words. She looks adorable, more so because she's chewing her bottom lip mindlessly. Here's a stellar example of a strong, beautiful, industrious girl who has a goal to achieve and lets nothing else distract her along the way. She knows her place but doesn't shy away from pointing out the truth. And let's not forget about the small but significant fact that she's not fazed by the numerous men chasing after her. If only she didn't work for me. My headache intensifies despite leaving Brad's office. Clear my schedule for the rest of the day. I'll work from home, I say to Julie. How about your date with Felicia? Shall I postpone it to tomorrow night? Julie produces her phone quickly and opens up my calendar, looking ready to type in whatever I order. Oh, you have a date? Scarlett chimes in, staring at me with curious eyes. Do I know her? No one knows her, Julie answers for me. She's a nurse and not a famous one as far as I know. That's kind of the point, though. Zane doesn't need someone from the entertainment industry. Really? Scarlett says with a hint of disappointment in her voice. It's adorable to say the least, and has me running my eyes over her tight body. Has she considered herself as a suitable partner for me? From her deepening blush, I'd say yes, which should be my clue to end my obvious ogling. Luckily, Julie comes to my rescue and explains to her the reasons why it's a better idea for me to get involved with a low-key woman with a modest lifestyle rather than a camel-crazed woman who worships nothing but diamonds and Botox. Scarlett doesn't look satisfied with Julie's explanation, and I don't blame her. As we approach the front door of the building, Julie stops to give Scarlett a friendly hug, and to my utter astonishment, after their hug, Scarlett moves from Julie and approaches me with open arms, clearly wanting to give me a hug too. I should be a better man and just move away. Even though I look like a socially awkward asshole, it's still better than the alternative scenario where I give her any kind of hope. But I don't. I spread my arms open for her and wrap them tightly around her tiny waist. Not just that, I lift her up a little and she gives me a surprised squeal. Julie grabs me by the elbow and hauls me out. As soon as we're out of Scarlett's hearing range, Julie starts her lecture. That was totally unprofessional. In case you haven't noticed, she's only 22 and very likely a virgin. She idolizes you. Don't screw with her mind. It won't do any good for anyone. I just couldn't help myself. Even your excuse is repulsive. Get yourself together. Save your dirty thoughts for the woman who will be your wife. I found myself wishing it was Scarlett. You're not serious. I'm not. She's just too sexy for me to ignore. That's all there is to it. And very sweet, but I'll keep that to myself. I'll stay away from her. I love Hawkins Media Group way too much to ruin its most successful show. Chapter 7, The Church Girl. I'll have mushroom gnocchi and Greek salad, please. Felicia hands the waiter the menu and reaches for a glass of ginger ale. Yep, she doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't even know the taste since she has never even felt inclined to try an alcoholic drink. I'll have the same. I smile at her when she glances at me with a surprised look. Now I feel guilty for not ordering that roast duck. Don't. I'm vegetarian. Really? Her eyes travel down my chest as if she'll find a confirmation there for or against my declaration. I never pegged you for a vegetarian, and you won't be the first one. It's okay, though. I've never felt comfortable eating meat. How about you? I love chicken, but that's about it. She grins and sets her glass of ginger ale beside her empty plate. I'm surprised you replied to my message. I mean, you and I are from different worlds. You must be surrounded by beautiful women, whereas I'm an average girl with an average